Tonight on Sports Corner, the Indiana Hoosiers travel to Autzen Stadium to play the Oregon Ducks, who hold the biggest home game winning streak in the country.
Over on the diamond, the Chicago Cubs and Milwaukee Brewers met in an ever-important Game 5 of the NLDS. We'll tell you how the game ended and who kept their World Series dreams alive.
In the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers welcome the Cleveland Browns for Aaron Rodgers' first AFC North game as a member of the Steelers. Find out who won as a brand new episode of Sports Corner starts right now. From the Franken Hall studio on the campus of Kent State University, this is Sports Corner alongside Maddox Miller. I'm Evan Schofield. Maddox, what a weekend it was for Kent State, especially the football team, the Golden Flashes.
A huge winning weekend for the Flashes, but before the football team, we got to get started on the pitch where the Kent State women's soccer team was victorious in their home game against Northern Illinois yesterday. Picking up the 1-0 win on Senior Day now gets the Flashes' MAC record to 5-2-1 as Kent State has won 3 games in a row. It was junior forward Kiyomi McCuslin who netted the lone goal for Kent State, scoring a penalty kick in the second half. Next up for the Golden Flashes is a road game on Thursday at 7 o'clock against Central Michigan.
The Kent State volleyball team came up short Friday night, losing to MAC opponent Eastern Michigan 3-1. This is their 3rd straight loss on the year, knocking their conference record down to 2-5. The Flashes will look to bounce back Thursday going to Oxford for a matchup against Miami, Ohio.
And wrapping up on the football field, the Kent State football team dominated UMass for a big homecoming win. The 42-6 win marks Kent State's 2nd win on the season and 1st MAC win. The Flashes were led by quarterback Drew DeShields, who went 10 for 18 for 148 yards and 4 touchdowns. Also, a game-opening kickoff touchdown by Darelis Clark, who housed his 2nd kickoff return touchdown of the season. Looking ahead, the Golden Flashes will travel for a game against Toledo on Saturday.
Well, Maddox, what a game that was. We're welcoming in Josh Zaramet to talk some Kent football. Josh, what'd you see?
I mean, it was a great game. Kent's offense finally clicked, and even better than that, the defense was dominant, held them to 6 points, no touchdowns for UMass. And honestly, if you're UMass, I don't know how you come away from that game anything but embarrassed.
No, I mean, just a true, 6 points. They scored as many points as they now have losses in the column. Wow. They're 0-6. But we're not here to talk about UMass. We're here to talk about Kent State. And they looked phenomenal. It was the best they looked all season. It's the best they've probably looked in the past 3 years. Even against the non-FBS opponents, they just cruised to this win.
Yeah. As much as we give the Flashes slack for their recent football performances, and as much as UMass is not a very good football team, to be very bland there, this is probably the most impressive win we've seen. Like we've heard around 42-6. This is the spark. This is the excitement we've been waiting for as Kent State fans for a football team and for a quarterback who throws 4 touchdowns in a game. I mean, incredible. We're seeing from this football team.
4 touchdowns, and I mean, he didn't even pass that much. Only 18 attempts, 10 completions. I mean, that's 4 touchdowns, and on top of that, he didn't even hit Cade Wolford for any targets. No. That's the big deep threat, and they didn't get him involved. He still had 4 touchdowns.
We've talked about the Shields, and we've talked about kind of the broad sense of things, the offense and the defense just overall clicking. What are some more, I guess, specific details that you saw that really make this Flash team look good?
I think it's going to be funny, but an underrated one is Drew Shields' ability to punt. This is his 2nd time he's pinned them.
Right.
And I actually asked him a question about that post game, if he practiced that. He says he does practice it, and it's his 2nd time he's pinned them, and I think he'll continue to do that.
So there's still a lot of season left. So I have to ask, there are games on paper that it looks like Kent State can win. What do you see going ahead for this Flashes football team?
I love the Akron game. I mean, you got to love the rivalry, and I think Kent will win that one. I'm not seeing anything out of this team right now, especially after that previous game, that tells me they can't beat Akron. And because of that, I think they will.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, Central Michigan, Northern Illinois, they're beatable. Toledo is probably, I'd say, the hardest one coming up, and that's next week against Toledo. One detail I wanted to kind of go back to here was the fact that the ball was spread around well. I talked last week, I said DeShields needs to throw. You need to let him throw to anyone that's open. Tariq Mulder, touchdown. Ardell Banks got a touchdown. Sebastian Brown got a touchdown. Everyone ate on that offense. It was spread evenly. The run game got going. 15 carries for Jordan Newman, 80 yards and 1 touchdown. The ball was spread great, and I love that detail from Coach Carney and the boys over there.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing work really well is they are setting up a phenomenal play-action game.
Yes.
They are running the ball decently. It's nothing crazy. They aren't running for 15 yards per carry, but they are grinding the offense down, and then they are setting them up. I mean, the first offensive touchdown, other than the DeRealist special teams kickoff return, was a play-action pass to the tight end where he's just running in a straight line and he's wide open because they are setting teams up for that. It worked in the Merrimack game. It worked in the Buffalo game. I think the play action has really become a key for them.
And speaking of DeRealist, I really wanted to highlight him.
Yes.
We obviously talk about the big kickoff return, but something that's underrated. He actually had a 4th down pass conversion, 27 yards. DeRealist can throw apparently too. What can he do?
It's truly phenomenal because if you are able to just continue to push on these teams, and that's just a nail in the coffin kind of moment there where UMass may be trying to get back in this game, even though admittedly they felt out of it by
the first play of the game when DeRealist returned it.
I mean, talk about a backbreaker. I have to ask, other than Akron, do you see around 3 to 4 wins that this team can climb up to?
I mean, yeah, I see a few wins. I believe Toledo lost this weekend too, right?
Yes, they lost to Bowling Green.
So yeah,
it was a great weekend.
Yes, there's a lot to look forward to. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to stay in the college ranks as the Ohio State Buckeyes dominated on the road against Illinois on Saturday. We'll see how OSU got the job done and more when Sports Corner goes campus to campus.
Did you know that children growing up with poor air quality have smaller lungs and higher rates of asthma than children that grow up with good air quality? And unfortunately, poor communities have poor air quality. IQ Air Foundation is working to change this. Today, the IQ Air Foundation provides filtration technology to schools with poor air quality through our Clean Air for Kids program. Our goal is to help over 50,000 school children every year breathe over 90% cleaner air indoors, helping to level the playing field, reduce barriers to learning, reduce sick days, and increase test scores. Mitigating poor air quality is key to environmental justice. Help Clean Air for Kids reach more children at iqairfoundation.org.
Hey there, I'm Lance Bass, and this is Chip. And for more than 100 years, American Humane has been protecting animals in times of crisis. And if you're like me, your pet means the world to you, and you want to keep them safe if disaster strikes. American Humane's first responders are always prepared to rescue animals in danger, but you can also help. To learn more about disaster planning and keeping your animals safe, please visit AmericanHumane.org.
Hey there, welcome to
Kent
Core.
Kent Core.
To Kent Core.
Well, it was a huge week in college football, so along with Lucas Cochran, let's dive into our favorite games of the week, starting over in Illinois. There's GI's Memorial Stadium, undefeated Buckeyes in 5-1 Illinois. We're going to head into the first quarter once these Buckeyes are out onto the field. First quarter, Jaden Fielding, he's good from 26, Bucks up 3-0 super early in this one. Very consistent so far this year. Now, first quarter, after the interception, the Bucks are going to strike again. That's C.J. Donaldson, the senior, 44 rush yards on the day, 10-0 Buckeyes. OSU tacks on 3. Julian Sand, 2nd and 12. He's going to take the dump-up option. Bo Jackson, not the Bo Jackson, but a Bo Jackson, 17 yards to the house. OSU keeps adding on 22-0. Illinois is going to add on 3 of their own with the second half nearing a close. Now, Illinois coming out of the half strong. Trickery. Aiden Lafferty touchdown. Illinois back in it. Down 10 still. Fourth quarter, 1st and goal. Who else but Jeremiah Smith? Seriously. The fade route worked and continues to impress this year for the Buckeyes. OSU takes this one 34-16. Look at Jeremiah holding the Illabuck trophy, looking happy as OSU is still unbeaten.
Now we're headed to the opposite side of the country, out to Oregon, where the number 3 Oregon Ducks host the number 7 Indiana. Dante Moore steps back in the pocket and launches a deep ball to Malik for the touchdown. Oregon went up early with a 7-3 lead. Later on, Indiana punches the ball into the end zone for a 1-yard touchdown. Just a few drives later, Indiana was able to take the lead even more, extending to the 2013 after scoring a few field goals. Fernando Mendoza looks deep left and drops the interception to Brandon Finney Jr., who runs it back, giving Oregon momentum, which would later lead to a touchdown. He'll tie the game at 20-20. Fernando Mendoza steps back in the pocket and goes deep left for the touchdown to his...
All right, well, we're back in Missouri at home against 8th-ranked Alabama. Missouri trying to win 6 straight on the year. What an entrance for the Tigers. Now we're going to head to the first quarter. First drive, Bo Pribula play action fires to Brett Norfleet, the big tight end, for 26-yard touchdown. Missouri up 7-0 early. He is hyped, and I don't blame him. Bama, the very next drive on 2nd and goal. That's Ty Simpson, easy pitch and catch to Kevin Riley for 6. Tie game in the first. Now the Tigers, they had the punt. Bama on 3rd and 12, absolutely no problem. Simpson fires it up the seam to Isaiah Horton. He's going to shush the crowd here. 14-7 Bama on top. Now both teams add points. Pribula, he's going to do it himself. How about that juke? What an effort from Pribula. It's a tie game here in Missouri. Now Alabama's going to face a 4th and goal in the 4th quarter. Simpson to Daniel Hill, his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. This might be the dagger, although Missouri, they're going to tack on this touchdown. It's going to be Pribula, and how about this? Donovan Olugbode for the touchdown. They throw a pick. Bama stays on top. Missouri gets its first win. Bama wins, or they are now 5-1.
We're going to wrap things up in Rocky Top, where Tennessee took on Arkansas. The Razorbacks trying to pull off the big upset over the 12th-ranked Volunteers. And it's going to be Taylon Green, the quarterback, keeping this one, rushing into the end zone, going up 7-0 early. Arkansas with a huge task on the road, but Tennessee would respond later in the first quarter as Deshaun Bishop is going to break away on this one, find his way into the end zone. We are now knotted up at 7 apiece. We'd go to the second quarter where it is 17-10. Tennessee trying to tie it up, and Joey Aguilar is going to find Miles Kitzelman. Aguilar looking like a potential Heisman contender in this weird year for NCAA quarterbacks. We are now 27-17. Tennessee trying to run away with it. Taylon Green's going to get stripped, and he's going to fumble. It's going to be Jaden Perlotti on the recovery. This would put the dagger as we're going to go late into the 4th quarter. 34-24, Arkansas will get a consolation touchdown here as Green hits Cam Shanks, but it is just not enough. Tennessee picks up a huge SEC win to go to 2-1 in SEC play and climb up in the top 25.
All right, well, Mannix, we saw Tennessee win, we saw Ohio State win. What about another team as of late has gotten a little bit of media attention? Penn State, who started ranked this year, they fired their head coach, James Franklin. I want to know your thoughts, Lucas, your immediate thoughts of this.
I think it was the right move. I think 3-3. I mean, if you're looking at a team like your Penn State, you know who Penn State is. They're in the category of Texas A&M, Alabama. When you're 3-3, it leaves a lot of questions. You shouldn't be 3-3. That puts you in the category with the lower-end teams like Rutgers or something even. And I think it's an immediate move, like, hey, like, we have to move on. And I think teams like Florida State and Florida are come next to that.
Yeah, I think you're able to live with the Oregon loss, but then when the UCLA loss and then when the Northwestern.
It just adds on.
They lost to Northwestern at home, and it just, at some point, enough is enough. I understand Drew Aller got injured. However, this just wasn't acceptable anymore. Being mediocre and being they would be a constant 10 seed in the playoffs. It just wasn't what Penn State wanted. They're a program with too much pride to allow that to continue.
Yeah, quite literally one pride. You know, that's their motto. Speaking of Drew Aller and I guess the players of Penn State, you mentioned earlier, Lucas, 6 commits in 24 hours have decommitted from Penn State because of the firing. I mean, unreal how this just works out. We're going to move over to another team that has gotten probably the opposite, a lot of success this year, Georgia Tech. They're a team that's sitting at 6-0. How about that?
I love Haynes King. I am a huge fan of him. I think every year when I think of teams that were upset in the past, it was Kansas State always, but now Georgia Tech has kind of been that team. And I'm looking at that final match of the year when they could possibly be entering as a favorite versus Georgia. Now that's a Georgia for Georgia matchup right there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, GT played Georgia really hard last year, and Georgia Tech was not as good as they are this year. And the ACC, it feels like with the downfall of Clemson, is pretty open. Obviously, Miami is clearly the favorite. They are the second-ranked team in the country for a reason. However, Georgia Tech is making a really strong case for themselves in the ACC. Even if they make the conference championship, I feel like you will see them get one of those playoff bids.
Yeah, and they're quite the competitive team. I mean, they're leading the ACC. They could run the gauntlet. You mentioned Georgia at the end of their schedule. Obviously, they have Duke, Syracuse, NC State, Boston College, Pitt, all winnable games for this Georgia Tech team. So I think anything's possible. They can go pretty far, I think.
Yeah, and speaking of playoff teams, we looked at it. Indiana beat Oregon. There's some, I don't want to say haters, but there are some question marks being raised about Indiana's legitimacy. Are the Hoosiers legit?
This is my problem with it, is people want to look, Illinois gets blown out to Indiana, and now all of a sudden, oh, Illinois is not that great of a team. But it's okay for Ohio State just to beat them 34-16 because it's Ohio State. Indiana blows them out and then proceeds to go beat Oregon at Oregon. When does the respect start for them?
That's a very good question. Evan, Hoosiers legit?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they have potential to be very good in college football, and I don't see that many flaws with them. Their defense is on point, their offense steamrolling through opponents, what I've been seeing as a trend, but yeah, I don't know.
No, I mean, Fernando Mendoza has looked absolutely phenomenal. Going into Autzen and beating the Ducks is truly a I think it's safe to say it's the biggest win in Indiana football history.
We could be.
Not only that, but the pressure is on him when you're going against another Heisman favorite in Dante Moore. You are pressured to outperform him, win or loss. And he went in there and won and outperformed him.
Yeah, I mean, a guy who Dan Lanning said is the best quarterback in college football. Clearly, Indiana defense disproved
yeah, and we'll probably see that in the NFL, maybe sometime in the draft. Well, moving away from college, we head on to ice for a bit as we have a score update from Columbus. The Columbus Blue Jackets are down by 1 against the New Jersey Devils at the start of the second period.
Yeah, Columbus trying to get a big win against the Devils. Devils a playoff team last year. They're going to have to do a lot to make that one back. We are going to talk about the Blue Jackets later and their big win against the Wild, so I'm looking forward to that.
I really do hope it's a really good game. But NFL. Week 6 is nearly over, but Ryan Mead is here to talk about us with the latest as we get to the colder months of the year. So let's begin over in Pittsburgh for an AFC North battle. We're at Acrisure Stadium. Browns, Steelers. This one should be fun. There's Dylan Gabriel's second career start in the NFL. Chris Boswell immediately drills a 44-yarder. Steelers up 3-0. Back to the Browns. Gabriel, he's going to take the snap, drop back, and he has 0 time. That is the all-pro corner, Jalen Ramsey, with the sack. That's not the worst of it, though, folks. How about a house party at Quarterback Island? At least 4 Steelers get to Gabriel, but we're going to head to the red zone, and Aaron Rodgers leading this offense. He's going to hit Connor Hayward for the touchdown. Risky but precise from Aaron. Steelers up 16-3 here in the third quarter. Next drive for Pitt, yet another score with a pump fake Rodgers. He hits DK Metcalf, number 4. That was a great touchdown. Steelers running away with it at home. Now, fourth quarter, one more potential effort for Gabriel. He's going to drop back again. And guess who, ladies and gentlemen? Jalen Ramsey. 2 sacks on the day for him. Comes in clutch. No chance for the young quarterback. Steelers improve to 4-1. They take on Cincinnati for Thursday Night Football this week.
Can the Dolphins get back on track here after a 1-4 start as they are going to take on the Chargers here as Tua's going to take a shotgun snap. He's going to hand this off to Devon Achane. He's got a hole. Does he have the speed? And he just could go all the way. That's a touchdown for the Dolphins. Devon Achane with over 100 yards in this one. He had a great game. And now Justin Herbert's going to take the snap here. He's going to step up in the pocket. Does he have anyone to throw to? Yes, he does. His best friend, Ladd McConkey, touchdown Chargers. They are going to take the lead right back. But the Dolphins here, Tua's going to toss this one off to Devon Achane, and he's got his second touchdown of the game. He had a great game in this one. Can the Dolphins climb back in this one with them being down early? And Tua's going to take the snap here. He's going to look to throw. Does he have anyone to throw to? Yes, he does. Darren Waller in the back of the end zone. The Dolphins have come all the way back to gain the lead right back with 40 seconds left in this one. Can the Chargers come back? But Justin Herbert's going to break his sack here, find Ladd McConkey. Whoop! Right by him, and he's going to find green grass ahead, and he's going to run out of bounds here, and the Chargers are going to look to kick a field goal at the very end. Can they pull this one off? We've seen a lot of blocked field goals here, and they will get this one right in. The Chargers are going to win 29-27, an amazing win for the Chargers. Great start to their season.
And we're going to wrap things up in Arrowhead, staying in the division with the Chargers. It was Chiefs-Lions Sunday Night Football. 4th and 3 here in the first quarter. Lions up 3-0, and it would be Xavier Worthy getting open, beating the defender touchdown, 7-3. Actually, Harrison Butker would boot this PAT, so make it 6-3 now in the second quarter. 3rd and 3. Jared Goff's going to find Jameson Williams, who's going to pinball off of some Chiefs defenders into the end zone there, make that 10-6. Lions beat the Chiefs 2 years ago in the opening week, and it would be Hollywood Brown, the former Raven and Cardinal, on the little end around, getting in the end zone here, making that 20-10. But Lions would not go quietly, as Goff, with time, is going to find Sam Laporta with the touchdown. He mossed the defender here. Unlike Isaiah Likely last year in the opener, he gets 2 toes here in the back of the end zone. Touchdown. Lions make it 20-17. Chiefs, though, would respond here on 3rd and goal in the 4th quarter, as once again, it's Hollywood Brown making big-time plays here. Chiefs would win this one 30-17, but we had some extracurriculars after the game. Brian Branch shoving Juju Smith-Schuster in the face here. He will now be serving a 1-game suspension. Dan Campbell said what he did was, quote, inexcusable. But the Lions now have to prepare for the Bucs on Monday Night Football. Chiefs play the Raiders at 1 o'clock next week. Well, Ryan, we just continue to have action-packed Sundays of football. So I have to ask you, which team was your biggest winner of Week 6?
Well, this is actually a little bit of a different take, but really the Steelers, they have nobody else in their division, so I think that they're kind of the winner right now. Who's they going to play? Who's going to beat them for the crown of the division? Because the Browns are horrible, Bengals are horrible, Ravens are horrible. So I'd really think that they have really kind of come around here. They may not be the best team in the division or the best team like overall, but they're just their division's so bad that. You know, what do you think, Evan?
Well, I'm going to stick in the AFC here. You said the Steelers. I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I know Pat McAfee hypes them up a lot, but I think he's allowed to because the Colts have been on a roll. Danny Dimes gets to Indianapolis, form's good. He's got 8 touchdowns to 1 interception. I don't know if that's the lowest in the league for interceptions, but
I think it is.
1 interception is pretty good for 8 touchdowns. Now, we got scared because we thought the Cardinals were going to beat them. And we're like, okay, what's happening to Indy? Are they going to fall apart again? No, they came back and they beat them. So I think beating Arizona 31-27 made them my winner of the week. Maddox?
Yeah, I mean, they took down Jacoby Brissett, so not insanely impressive. I'm going to head over to the NFC, where I have the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. They took down the 4-1 Jacksonville Jaguars, and the 49ers lost. The 49ers were hanging on for dear life, but Fred Warner suffered a season-ending injury. Mac Jones could only do so much against a great Buccaneers team, and now it looks like the Seahawks might be the favorites for the NFC West. Sam Darnold is looking like he's continuing that momentum from Minnesota. Speaking of really good teams, Ryan, we talked about team to beat a few weeks ago.
That's right.
But now things are kind of coming into shape. Who's the best team in the NFL right now?
Yeah, it's weird to think that as of a couple weeks ago, it looked completely different because everybody just keeps. It seems like the best teams just keep losing to bad teams. Mm-hmm. But I think right now the Eagles are probably the best team, even though they keep losing. But they lost a couple games last year, a couple years ago. They found a way to win the Super Bowl. I just think that it's hard to really go against the tush push. But what do you think, Evan?
Well, I got to counter that. So we are going to stick in the NFC, but we are going to go with the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
They are 5-1. Baker Mayfield is playing out of his mind.
Probably the MVP
The
favorite.
MVP front runner. I don't see how anyone overtakes him for quite a while if he's putting up these numbers. By the way, without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin, Emeka Ibuka goes down in the game recently, and now he's going to be out, but they should be getting Mike Evans back here soon. They got to get out of these close games, though. They are the best team, but they got to stop with these close games, or it's going to fall apart for them very quick.
Yeah, I mean, I got to stick with Tampa. They were also down Bucky Irving this week, and I understand they're playing a beat-up 49ers team, but, man, I do agree that they have to avoid the close games. However, the Bucs know how to win.
That is true.
Yeah, winning like this early is really good for your team.
Being able to win one-possession games will translate to the playoffs.
That's right.
Now, we have seen it with teams in the past. The Minnesota Vikings a few years ago, they won a bunch of one-score games and then they lost in the first round. So maybe it won't translate. However, Baker Mayfield is he has that dog in him. I know it's a funny joke, but like, talk about a guy who's just putting his body on the line and is just
every
going
single week.
Yes.
Absolutely carrying his team to victory. It's incredible what Baker's been doing.
So it seems we've kind of come to consensus that the best teams are in the NFC. This feels like something that is usually different. Do you see the NFC claiming another Super Bowl this year potentially?
I think it could really happen. I think the only competitor in the AFC is really the Bills right now because we haven't really seen them really beat up. But I think that's very possible.
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of quality talent in the NFC between the Lions, the Bucks, the Eagles, and I mean the Giants are playing good, but. We'd like to thank you so much, Ryan, for joining us. We're going to go from the gridiron to the baseball diamond as the Mariners stole Game 1 of the ALCS on the road. We'll see how Seattle got the win up north as SportsCorner takes a trip around the bases.
Can you help me?
Mom, Dad, we're going out.
Thank you.
Oh, look, they're playing chess.
What you got there?
Will you help my mom?
She's real sick, huh? Hey, crew, I'll give the first move to anyone who signs up to be an organ donor. How do you do it?
Easy. Just go to organdonor.gov.
You heard him, organdonor.gov.
More donors means more hope. Sign up at organdonor.gov.
Is it okay over there? Is that good?
Jackie boy, look, we have been through a lot together.
Hurry up before this rain, this rain goes away.
Well, I...
First, they said cigarettes were safe. We know how that turned out. Now, they say they didn't market e-cigarettes to teens. Fact, more than 1 in 4 high school students are vaping, and 80% say their first e-cigarette was flavored. Vaping is harmful to developing brains. The reason we think vaping is safe? Marketing. Same lies, different day. Tell Big Vape to quit lying.
Welcome back. The NBA is still in the preseason stage, but that doesn't mean there aren't headlines to discuss. Gage Woolman's here to help us out. Welcome in, Gage.
Thank you very much, guys. So I just want to I got 2 or 3 here, quick takes that I really want to run by you. My number one, Maddox is a Spurs coverer. You're going to really love this one. I think if Victor Wembanyama is healthy, he is not only the most valuable player of the league in 2025-26, he's going to be the defensive player of the year, and we saw that. I mean, this guy has tremendous wingspan, tremendous dexterity. Who is a better defender in the association right now than Victor Wembanyama? You might want to talk about a guy like Evan Mobley, but I got to give it to Wemby. And in total, I really expect a lot out of San Antonio. Number 2, I think we're going to see a lot of big-time players. I'm talking LeBron James, potentially Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, maybe even Kawhi Leonard. This aspiration scandal has really covered the entire Clippers organization. Maybe he's fed up with that. We know Kawhi Leonard's sort of a quiet, keep to himself type of guy. Sure. But we're seeing a lot of childhood favorites of mine. I know Maddox, you as a big NBA guy, Evan. A lot of guys I grew up watching and loving growing up. I think we're seeing an end to that. And finally, I love my championship predictions. Quite frankly, I'm 7 for 7, I think, right now, except for the Dodgers one I missed. But I think the Cleveland Cavaliers will hoist the championship, funnily enough, and even 10 years after they did it the first time around. When you look at the East, it's wide open. Tatum out, Halliburton out. The Knicks, great challenger for sure. I'm really excited to see that potential semifinals or conference finals round between New York and Cleveland. But I mean, this is a Cleveland team that only got better, and you're going to get another year of Kenny Atkinson. You're also going to get Lonzo Ball as well.
Yeah, I mean, to burn through them real quick, I think Wemby, MVP candidate, Depoy winner. He should have won last year. I think the Cavs have really good odds. I do like the Knicks, though, despite having a new head coach. Mike Brown, former Coach of the Year winner. I really like what's coming out of there. And I think we are just at the end of an era. I think the 2010s, we're done with the 2010s. Like, we joke, people have joked in NBA media, we're done with the 90s. I think
about time.
Yeah, the early 2000s, late 2000s, 2010s, guys like Bron, Kawhi and them, I think they're just at their last legs. We appreciate your time, Gage, the basketball. There's a lot, we got a lot to talk about in basketball, and we're going to move over from the NBA to the WNBA, where the finals concluded on Friday as the Las Vegas Aces completed the sweep of the Phoenix Mercury with a 97-86 Game 4 win. This gave the Aces their third title since 2022. A'ja Wilson was crowned Finals MVP, capping off one of the greatest seasons in WNBA history as she won MVP, Co-Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP. Wilson averaged 28.5 points per game, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the series. This marks the end of the WNBA season, as now teams look to the offseason to gear up to stop this Aces dynasty.
Welcome over to Couch Island. I'm Zach Svensson alongside Lucas Foote. The MLB postseason rolls along as the NLCS begins tonight, and Game 2 of the ALCS is just wrapping up.
The Blue Jays and Mariners started the ALCS last night in Toronto, so let's head into it. Starting off in Toronto, ALCS Game 1, Mariners, Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays start off early as George Springer hitting a bomb leadoff home run. First pitch he saw, way back and gone. Next up in the top of the 6th, Cal Raleigh tying it up, big dumper, his 62nd homer of the season. Mariners win. Mariners up 2-1 as Jorge Polanco would line it into left field. And Julio Rodriguez would come around and score. Next up, it's Jorge Polanco again with his 5th RBI of the postseason thus far. Mariners take a 3-1 lead. And lastly, in the bottom of the 9th, Alejandro Kirk up to bat. He pops it up into left field, and Andres Munoz gets the save. Mariners take Game 1, 3-1.
Of the NLDS between the Cubs and Brewers in Milwaukee, where American Family Field was jumping. In the bottom of the first, Brewers catcher William Contreras gets the scoring started when Pomeranz leaves a heater over the outside of the plate as he hammers it into the gap for a 1-0 Brewers lead. Now top of the second, Jacob Mizorowski comes out of the pen, and the second pitch he throws gets smoked by Seiya Suzuki, who ties this game up with a home run of his own. Things knotted up at 1. We head to the bottom of the 4th, still 1-1. Andrew Vaughn in a 3-2 count clobbers this one to left and breaks the 1-1 tie. Brewers lead 2-1 after 4. Bottom of the 7th, Bryce Terang for the Brewers smokes an outside slider to deep center to add insurance to the Brewers lead now. 3-1 deep to center field. Pete Crow Armstrong thought he had a beat on it, but just too much. Now top of the 9th, Brewers closer Abner Uribe in to end the Cubs season gets Carson Kelly to ground 1 to short, and the Brewers take Game 5 by a final of 3-1, and now they head to Los Angeles to take on the Dodgers in Game 1 of the NLCS. All right, Lucas, we're going to talk about the NLCS and ALCS that's starting tonight. How do you feel about the game that's ongoing right now? I believe last time we looked it's
10-3, Mariners up. So with that series, the Mariners about to take a 2-0 lead, and that's going to be so huge. A 2-0 lead, 2 wins in Canada. Now you get to go back home to the Seattle fans. It's going to be raucous there in 2 nights as the Mariners take a 2-0 lead with 2 straight home games.
Jorge Polanco setting himself up for ALCS MVP already, just 2 games in.
believe they said he has 8 RBIs in the postseason
8
so
RBIs
far.
this postseason, 5 RBIs this series alone in the last 2 games. A 3-run home run today. 2 3-run home runs by the Mariners, both Julio Rodriguez and Jorge Polanco. The offense has been rolling for them.
Julio Rodriguez getting hot at the right time. The Mariners really have been hot since the end of the regular season, coming into this postseason. Had a rough 5-game series against Detroit, able to take 2 against Skubal, but best pitcher in the league. They played great against the Tigers. They come in with the momentum, and they've come in 2 games in a row and played great against this Blue Jays team that was the #1 seed, best record in the AL. They've played amazing.
And the Blue Jays pitching has really struggled this Mariners series so far. Obviously, 3 runs not that bad, but in the playoffs, 3 runs can be a lot of runs as the Mariners only give up 1 run.
Tre'Davious Savage tonight did not look that great. Like we said, 10-3 loss to the Mariners. The Blue Jays offense, 3 runs in the playoffs is, like you just said, really good. But when you're giving up 10 runs, not great.
It's not going to work. How about in the NLCS, Brewers-Dodgers, kickoff tonight? What do you see in that series?
I see, honestly, game 1 I could see going either way. They started with Aaron Ashby and then Blake Snell on the mound for the Dodgers. Blake Snell's looked great this postseason. Really been good for this Dodgers rotation near the front line of it with all of these star-studded pitchers. But I'd like to see Blake Snell go 6 or 7 innings. You'd like to see that after in the 2020 postseason where he got taken out in the 5th inning, but you'd like to see him go further into games, get through that 3rd time in the lineup. And with Aaron Ashby, not like a lot going on there, not like a star-studded name like Blake Snell. This Brewers team is really one of those teams where you throw out a bunch of guys that most of these people aren't going to know, but they get the job done. William Contreras has looked great. He hit that home run the other night to send the Cubs packing, and I'd like to see this Brewers team get hot, and they have been hot.
I think this series is going to be about how well the Dodgers pitching performs. Blake Snell tonight, then you have Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani as your 3 main starters. Those are 3 huge names, so much money in those contracts, and they play well in the postseason. So if those guys perform well, it's going to be hard for the Brewers to keep up.
And that's all for us over here talking baseball. Send it back to the desk.
Thank you, guys. Before we move on, we have a somber note to discuss in the world of baseball. This afternoon, former MLB All-Star Sandy Alomar Sr. passed away at the age of 81. Alomar came into the MLB in 1964, the start of what will become a 15-year MLB career. After his playing career, Alomar went on to manage in his home country of Puerto Rico. He will be missed dearly by baseball fans around the world.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money.
As part of its public health mission, the scientists and staff at FDA work to protect the American public by getting the accurate, science-based information they need to use medications wisely.
Welcome back. The NFL is back, and boy, has it been electric. So let's dive into how electric when we head to Minnesota for the Wild's home opener. Home opener for the Minnesota Wild, and it is electric. Away team has that energy too, as Miles Wood on the wrist shot is going to get this goal here. It'll be 1-0 early in this one, heading into the second. So the Jackets are going to add another. Now it's the Wild's turn. Kirill Kaprizov misses the shot, but Matt Boldy doesn't. Wild now only down 1 at home. Second, Wild leading in shots. This time, Kirill Kaprizov scores this time, and that's a power play goal for the Wilds. Check that one out. It's a 2-2 tie game here. Now the second sticking down puck is going all around here. He'll shoot. It'll be deflected, and it'll be a goal from Kirill Marchenko, who finds the back of the net. Jackets now up 1. Third period's Minnesota power play, and check out this one. Zeev Buium. This is his first professional goal in the NHL. 5-3 now. Wild need to come back here. Yet another goal for the Jackets, and this time Adam Fantilli, and that should just about do it. 6-3. Wild leave home with a loss in the home opener, lose 7-4, puts them at 1-1 to start the year.
We're going to head over to the Big Apple, where the New York Islanders hosted the Washington Capitals. First period here, it would be 0-0, but early on, Washington would get on the board as Martin Fehervary scores on this one. The great one, Alex Ovechkin on the assist, and John Carlson also on the assist. 1-0 Washington early. We're going to head later into the first, about 6 minutes left, and New York turning it over where you don't want to turn it over. Alexi Protus scores on this one. Jacob Chikrin and Tom Wilson getting the assist there. 2-0 now. We're going to head into the third period. 4-1 now. New York power play. But a bit of a milestone here, a bit of a scramble here. It would be Matthew Schaefer somehow getting the goal on this one. Schaefer, the #1 overall pick for the Islanders, getting on the board. New York running the empty net now. Save here by Logan Thompson. Thompson would finish with 34 saves on the night. It would be a big Washington win early in the season as they try to get back to the postseason like they did last year. Ovechkin trying to continue his great year.
Well, great game. We're going to head over to Colorado for Stars Avalanche. That's Brent Burns, the new player in Colorado, hoping he can make an impact. Dallas is up early 1-0 with assists from Nathan McKinnon and Sam Malinsky. Martin Necas scores. A 26-year-old ties the game. It is now 1-1 tie game. Been fun nearing the end of the second, and that's Jason Robertson for the Stars. That's a tip in for the lead. 3-2 Dallas heading into the second half of the game. Well, it's not over yet in the third as the puck rolls over to McKinnon, passes to Arturi Lekonen, and he scores. How many ties are we going to have in this one? It is actually insane. Now, in the third, starts with a steal and goal. Wyatt Johnson on the snapshot. That was easy. Dallas has the lead in the third. Now, staying in the third, the Avalanche, they have the power play. Puck goes left and right until McKinnon scores for Colorado. How about that? 4-4 now. It's time for the shootout. Now, Ron Tunnen shoots and scores for the shootout. He's going to score. Avalanche go on the try as well, but Kale Makar misses. Dallas goes on the win in the crazy shootout. They improve to 2-0.
Wrapping up things in Nashville, we have the Ice Age Bowl between the Utah Mammoth and the Nashville Predators. 1-0 here in the first. Utah up, trying to get their first win as the Mammoth. We head later into the first 12 minutes now. It would be Philip Forsberg who's going to score this one. Brady Martin on the assist, knotting things up at 1 apiece. We'd skip the second period and jump all the way to the third with Nashville up 2-1, but Utah going to knot it up here as Jack McBain scores. Nick Schmaltz and Sean Dursey on the assist, 2-2. This is going to line us up for some overtime here as we see the puck getting past Preds goalie Yusei Saros. Going to get us into overtime in any minute now. Overtime here, about 2 minutes left to go before we head to a shootout, and it's going to be the Utah Mammoth who are going to pull this one out. Dylan Gunther making this one 3-2 to get Utah's first win as the Mammoth, going away from the Utah Hockey Club. Mammoth 3-2.
Well, Maddox, what a fun start to the year for the NHL. I'm super excited to keep watching as the year goes on. Speaking of that, it's really early.
It's extremely early.
Bear with me here. It's extremely early for the NHL, but early Cup favorites is something that we've seen on, betting odds and stuff like that. I guess give me your early Cup favorite here.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to sit here and say this team's going to win the Cup. We're not doing Cup Finals predictions. Just testing the waters, seeing who we're liking early.
I really like the Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay.
They have been an extremely good team over the past few years. They've come up short in the East as those darn Florida Panthers are building their dynasty down south. It feels like they have to break through at some point. They have a good start to the year. Taylor Hall is playing good. He has 2 goals and assists. Seth Jarvis, 3 goals. He is having a phenomenal year. The 23-year-old for Carolina, putting it on early for them. I'm really liking them and Florida in the East right now. Who do you see maybe taking home Lord Stanley?
All right, well, we talked about this earlier. The Oilers, Hurricanes, and Panthers all tied for favorites to win the Cup as of certain betting odds. I don't know if it's on FanDuel or whatever. Now, I will say another team that's been good for a while, that's always in contention, is the Oilers.
Yes.
Now, they have Connor McDavid still.
Of course.
Leon Draisaitl. That is 2 of the probably top 10 players in the NHL as we stand here today. I think their firepower is great. I think they are consistent. I think they're consistently good on offense. I think their defense is able to shut out teams, very early on. Speaking of, I guess, teams that are good, we're going to kind of shift here. What about the disappointing teams in the NHL? For example, teams that were really good last year that have, I guess, started off
slow starts.
very slow.
Slow starts,
yes.
yeah. Real quick on the Oilers, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, they've been coming up short to Florida. They got to hope that with Florida's injuries that those go on for a long time and they don't meet Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals because it seems like that's the one team that can beat them.
Yeah.
Early disappointment, I got the LA Kings. Okay. They made the playoffs last year. They're now 1-2. The biggest issue is that they're losing to teams that, I mean, the playoffs are so far away, but they're losing to teams that most likely will make the playoffs. They lost to the Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche. They did beat the Vegas Golden Knights, who are a very good team traditionally. However, if they are not able to win these games against good teams, it doesn't matter if they pull together a decent regular season, see them in the first round. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because they will lose to the Oilers anyway, as they have for the past, it feels like 10 years.
Yeah, definitely a trend that'll continue. I'll give you something here quick. Give me the Toronto Maple Leafs that have started the season off pretty bad. They're now 1-2. Obviously, not something to really worry about. They're the Maple Leafs. You know, they won the Atlantic last year. No, they lost Mitch Marner. Seems like they're kind of falling apart as the season has started here. Obviously, it's early, but my question is there too much pressure on Austin Matthews to really get the team going in the absence of Mitch Marner, who played for the Maple Leafs for 9 seasons?
I mean, it just feels like this is a team, they're very old, they're very experienced. It feels like they have a lot of front-loaded talent, and there's just not enough depth for a team like Toronto, and it just feels like they're kind of just spinning the wheels at this point. They're going out there, they're doing what they can, and I just don't think it matters by the time they come. But by the time playoffs come, around, Toronto always just falters, and I don't see anything changing. This team looks worse than teams in the prior years, but we have so much puck to talk about throughout the year. I'm so excited to get to it. However, we are going to set some things straight, heading over to our main man, Stone. Stone, what do you got?
Oh, thanks, Evan. The NHL season has started, and first NHL season to start, and we have some early shiners to break down. Pavel Dorofeyev at the Knights leads with 5 goals through 3 games, with 4 of them coming on the power play. From an overall play perspective, his teammate Jack Eichel leads with 7 points, 5 of those coming on assists, and 3 of those 5 coming on the power play with Dorofeyev. Moving across the border, Canadian Thanksgiving Day has not been kind to the Canadian teams today. In particular, the Maple Leafs dropped a 3-2 decision to the Detroit Red Wings, despite them outshooting them 40-15. Although it is a small sample size, the Leafs have not gotten off to a strong start in its first game since losing Mitch Marner to the Knights. Austin Matthews has gone mostly ghost mode with just 1 empty netter on the season and no other points. The early part of this portion of the season is where the kinks get worked out, however, so expect the Leafs to get rolling at some point. Next, we have crowned a champion. The Vegas Aces pulled out the brooms and swept the Phoenix Mercury 4 games to 9. Asia Wilson led with 31 en route to closing out the series with a 97-86 victory. Wilson was named the MVP, becoming the first ever player in NBA or WNBA history to win an MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year, and an Finals MVP. For the series, Wilson dropped 28 and 11. While Wilson may be the GOAT, there were still some other great performers from the series that I would like to shout out. Jackie Young chipped in 18 in the clincher and dropped 32 in Game 2 of the series. Chelsea Gray facilitated the offensive game with an assist percentage of 30% while on the floor. For the Mercury, Kalia Copper put forth a valiant effort, dropping 30 in Game 4 and averaging nearly 23 a game on over 50% from the field. These could be the last WNBA games for a while, as a lockout looms large with the relationship between the players and the owners seemingly broken and seemingly beyond repair. Lastly, we have the National League Championship Series, and I'm here to preview it for you. The Brewers and the Dodgers will face off, with the Brew Crew hosting Game 1 tonight, right now as we speak. My key for the series is pitching. Who will make those quality pitches needed to get those potent offenses out? Blake Snell will start Game 1 on the road, and last Monday, he was brilliant on the road, generating 23 swings and misses against the Phillies with 9 strikeouts. The fastball will be critical for Snell to get over today, as the Brewers sport a negative 6.8 run value against the pitch, according to Fangraphs. The Brewers don't have a starter tab, but navigating the Dodgers lineup will be tough as they excel against a variety of pitches. Game 2 to me is the critical game in the series, as Yoshinobu Yamamoto looks to rebound against the Brewers. He possesses one of the best splitters in the game, and that will be his key to excelling. My prediction for the series, I think the Dodgers barely squeak out, with Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki being the arms that lead the Dodgers along the way. This has been another edition of Stone Sets It Straight. For the Kent Stater Sports Network, I'm Stone O'Brien. Back to the desk.
Well, thank you, Stone. A college team that got off to a hot start has collapsed. But it's not who you may be thinking about. Learn whose season has melted down and more after this.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
The solo stage where the player spends most of it being hunted down by Infinite. The weapon that performed the best here was the Drill Wispen. Its ability to...
He finally is like, I get it now. I get it. I have worth because I'm me. And I really liked it a lot. Like, I'm not...
What are you staring at? How do you know it's me? No.
It's pretty.
Welcome back. Well, it's that time of the week again for our segments. We'll start with Evan's End Zone, where heroes rise, villains fall, and some show hope for the future. Whether you won your fantasy matchup this week or not, we're going to dive into who potentially made up your points. As always, we start with the positive this week. NFL Week 6 gave us some stunning performances, one of which I got right, Rico Dowdle. We won't cover him again, but we will need to cover a man named Kimani Vidal, running back for the Los Angeles Chargers. One big question leading into this week was who would step up for the Chargers, and Jim Harbaugh and company, they got their answer. On 18 carries, Vidal produced a league-high 124 rushing yards for the week, along with 3 receptions for 14 yards and a touchdown. This earned him 22.8 fantasy points, so consider him a well-performing starter for the week. One more overperformer is a guy that has moved his way up to fantasy quarterback number 4 pending football tonight, and quarterback ranked 2 for the week. His name is Drake May. May has been stellar for the Patriots team that is 4-2 for the first time since 2019. Besides getting a win against the Saints, May went 18 for 26, 261 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, giving fantasy owners 27 points. Granted, it's the Saints, but young quarterback paired with head coach Mike Vrabel seems to be heating up. Not to harp on a guy that wanted to head to New York for more money, Justin, but I'm going to. Justin Fields, buddy. Gotta talk. He took 9 sacks against the Broncos in a matchup in London, but here's what's worse. Fields had on average 4 seconds to throw and couldn't take advantage. He had 9 completions on 17 attempts for an abysmal 45 yards. How many points did that get you, you ask? 4.7. I'm so sorry, fantasy owners, but not quite for Fields. I'll now give you one person I have high hopes for on Week 7. Look out for Jaylen Warren on Thursday Night Football this week as he goes up against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Warren was an eye-opening against Cleveland, but consistent. Pittsburgh should lean on their run game to start Week 7.
Well, thank you, Evan. Just an update for you. My fantasy team not going so well. A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara. Come on, man. But regardless of that, I'm not here to melt down about that. I am here to melt down about the Florida State Seminoles. Man, they beat Alabama. That's it. They started out 3-0, they beat Alabama at home, so I can't even say they went into Tuscaloosa and did it. They then proceeded to lose 3 straight. Who did they lose to, you may be asking? Well, they lost to Virginia, who is ranked now, so not awful. Miami's great. Miami's very good. They're the number 2 ranked team in the country. Carson Beck looks like a Heisman frontrunner. And then they lost to Pitt. Pitt is a usually 6-5 win. They're a decent college football team. However, you cannot be a top 10 team losing to Pitt. No offense to all the Pitt Panthers fans out there. Tommy Castellanos has completely fallen off a cliff. Their last win, mind you, was against our very own Kent State Golden Flashes, where they gave us a huge blowout win. Florida State and Mike Norvell looking more like the DJ Uiagalelei year last year. But we thought Florida State was back. However, it's never been more over for a team like the Florida State Seminoles. That is my meltdown. Not as bad as UCLA. However, a close runner-up. Florida State, get it together, man. Your season is definitely over, but outside of that, I really don't have much to say about. I'm not even angry. I'm just disappointed. Sucks to be a Seminoles fan.
It must suck to be a Seminoles fan. Well, we do have some live updates we wanted to share with the fans of Sports Corner here. We have a few games going on. We have Bills, Falcons. We have the Brewers are also playing
the Dodgers. And we have
There
Bears
we go.
Commanders.
How's it going?
At halftime, we have the Falcons up 21-7 on the Bills, looking to pull off a huge upset here.
That would be maybe upset of the year?
Yeah, I mean, potentially. Bears currently up 13-0 on the Commanders early in the second quarter. Commanders offense just not getting it going. And for the Brew Crew, we got a very boring stalemate here. 0-0 at the end of the third.
What a performance.
All it will take is one run, though, and playoff baseball is so great. I love playoff baseball so much.
You just never know, man. Like, you seriously don't know how it's going to happen. And the Bills, top of the AFC, I seriously don't understand that.
No, truly shocking.
Well, that'll do it for this edition of Sports Corner. Thank you so much for watching.
For updates from us 24/7, head over to kentstater.com and be sure to tune into Overtime right here every Friday at 7 p.m. I'm Maddox Miller.
And I'm Evan Schofield, saying from the opening play to the final call, the Kent Stater Sports Network covers it all. Good night.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very.
Sean talked to me. It was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Hi, I'm Leland Melvin, and I traveled to space twice as a NASA astronaut. Space technologies help protect our precious Earth. Space helps us monitor changes in carbon emissions, track the pace of climate change. It even helps us fight natural disasters. Make sure that you get out to your local science museum or go to spaceforall.us to explore and learn about space and science. Space is for all.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?
76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.